Football lives here. This is 1140 The Fan.
Talkin Money!
And we're back to Talkin Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Yeah. We did get the winner to our, would be considered the worst pitcher of all time. It is not Cliff Lee. It is the Freak.
Tim Lincecum.
The Freak?
Yes, the Freak. Two-time Cy Young Award winner is now
on pace
the worst pitcher.
On pace to be the worst pitcher of the year. Wow. Or worst
Crazy.
pitcher ever.
Yeah.
This year. Wow, that's okay. So we did get a couple winners for that. One for the Hellwig, one for the Mix It Up beverage machine rental. We'll get those out right away. Thank you very much. We get a lot of throw a little sports out there, and we get a lot of replies there. You know what you want to do, because we're gonna have to we won't have time to do one more. You want to do that one too, just because we're here and we're giving away free stuff. And I will not be around next Saturday to give away free stuff. So how are you gonna phrase that one?
So what silly thing did self-help guru Tony Robbins have folks do to conquer their fears?
Jump out of an airplane. Come sit and listen to his speech for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So,
Four-day event at San Jose Convention Center at an event called Unleash the Power Within. A few folks, he had some people do this, and apparently it didn't go off so well.
It backfired, huh?
You could say that.
Okay. So, and some of them got hurt, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so what happened with the Tony Robbins event in San Jose? And some people got themselves hurt. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And
this is at a self. We're going to help himself. We're going to make us stronger. Believe.
I said jump off the bridge. I said to use the bungee. You jumped off without the bungee point.
Exactly.
So we'll have to come up with some of our own self-help crazy things we could do here too. So you can, we'll give everybody sheets and then they can jump off the CBS studio from the top there. I'm sure the management would love that. We come up with our own Superman contest or something. We'll work on something that would be put us off the air entirely forever.
There you go.
So we'll see if he continues up with that idea. So what did Tony Robbins do that got himself in a little bit of trouble and got some people hurt at a very recent event? We will give out. I've got another. If you want a Hellwig gift certificate, I can do another one of those for Hellwig. I got some more River Cats baseball too. So your choice. You let me know. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Already got a couple textures. They got it right there. Yeah, that's correct. So we'll take one off the text, one off the phone, and those are coming in fast and furious. We'll come back to that in just a minute. Our caller earlier, we didn't get a chance to get back to it, was Steve, and he had a couple of questions about he wanted to buy another rental house, and should I pull some cash out of my investment home, take the cash and go buy something else, and should I refinance first before I do all these things, and will that hurt my credit? I think it was kind of a mix of questions there. So we didn't get a chance to hook back up with him, but I got the gist of what he was looking for. So number one, I want to buy another investment property. I'm assuming he means he's going to finance it. So my comment is the same for no matter what you're doing. If you want to refinance, you want to pull some cash out of something, you want to buy something else, come in and get pre-approved for all of the above. So if Steve comes in and says, hey, here's my goals. Goal number one is, my house is at, I think it was at 5 5/8. I want to get down to 3 3/4. Okay. Number two, I need to get some cash out of my rental house because I want to buy another investment property. And number three, I want to buy the investment property. So you want to have someone look at the entire package of things, because theoretically, if a lender knows that you are looking to buy another investment property, if you're already in contract, they're going to have to disclose that to their underwriter. So you're going to have to qualify for that. If you're just bouncing around ideas and saying, one of my thoughts is I might want to take some cash and go buy something, that's a little different. You haven't found it yet, and quite frankly, in this market, it could take you a while, and you may not even go through with it. So you probably want to get the refinance done right off the bat, because rates are good, and that will save you some money and free up some ability to finance something else, right? If your payment drops $250, then you can use that to help further qualify. So get it going. Pulling the cash out of your existing rental house now, he mentioned, was $50,000 or something?
$50,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he wanted to pull $50,000 out of his rental to use it for another rental. That's where you start getting into, okay, so I refinanced first and saved myself a couple $100, which would go to help pay for the $50,000 I'm taking out, which will then I can use for the down payment of the rental house. So number 2 there, taking $50,000 out of your rental house may not be as easy as it sounds. And the only reason I say that is that you may want to look at taking more like 100 out. In the state of California, there are some rules and regulations about percentage of fees you can be charged for a loan. And I would say generally you start getting in trouble about below $75,000. And you start looking at a rental property, they're expensive, more expensive by definition. The appraisals are more, the rates are a little higher, So in a lot of the things that you do, whether you're borrowing 50 or 150, the fee doesn't change, right? There's like the escrow fee is $350. It's $350 whether you're borrowing $50,000 or $350 whether you're borrowing $150,000. The same fee. The appraisal on a rental property is probably more like $550. Because they mandate that you get a rental survey and some other things too. And it's $550 again, whether you're borrowing $50,000 or $150,000. So you start getting, on a small loan amount, you start getting a very high percentage of fees. The number is probably the same. It's like, okay, let's just say it's $2,700. It's $2,700 is a bigger percentage of $50,000 than it is $150. So you have to look around. A lot of your credit unions and places won't do, small banks, they won't do cash out on an investment property. So you lose the ability to do like a cheap line of credit. So you may have to, in fact, borrow a little bit more than you think you need, which may be okay, because it may be that a little larger down payment on the other rental property gets you a little better rate, gets that place a little down closer to a break even on the payment. And so what I always like to do on the rental properties is kind of weigh out, okay, this place over here that I have rented that's free and clear now, I'm getting $700 for rent. Okay, so if I borrow $100,000 on it, the payment rent still washes. Now I have $100,000 to go put down in this other place that's at $200, and that one's going to wash. Now I've got 2 houses. They're both covering themselves, and so instead of borrowing $200 over here and $0 here, I've got $100 on each. I've rebalanced them a little bit. They both cover themselves. That's good. You got low load to values on both. You got the best rates. I got my primary residence down a couple $100 to help me, kind of get the place spruced up or cover a little bit of loss if I don't rent it right away. That's a good package of a good package.
Perfect scenario.
Yeah, but what happens is that a lot of people don't come in and lay out the whole scenario. They just want to keep their cards close to their vest. So I'm just going to refinance this and maybe get a little cash out. And if you just come forth and be honest with it, this is my goal. It may not happen, but this is my goal for everything. We do this 24/7 every day of the week. We might come up with some good ideas that we might shock you. with something that comes out that sounds pretty reasonable and come up with a good plan. But borrowing $50,000 on a rental property is innocuous as that sounds, might be tough. Might be tough because, like I said, a lot of lenders won't do it, and a lot of lenders can't do that small of a loan amount. So you may have to reset your goals there a little bit. So that I wanted to get back.
Or you pull out 50 and you really needed 65, and all those things happen.
Yeah. So lay it out, and then obviously what would really stink is you went to all the effort of pulling out all this cash out of your investment property. You've got it in your hand now, and you find out you don't qualify for the other rental. And you're like, "What? I just went through all this work and effort, and I got $50,000, and I don't need it now." And you can send it back, but the cost has been absorbed. So look at the whole picture and make sure you get yourself pre-approved. So we did get some winners to our quiz questions, and I actually got a lot of winners there. So Tony Robbins had people do what?
He had people walking on hot coals. Which is, he didn't invent that. He might think he did, but people have done that before. But I guess what people got burned, huh? People got burned. Yeah, apparently he had them walking on hot coals that were between 1,200 and 2,000 degrees.
Okay.
He was providing the attendees an opportunity to understand that there's absolutely nothing you can't overcome. And I don't know if that was can't overcome second, third, and fourth degree burns.
You're right. I cannot overcome burning my feet, but I am either I walked too slow, or I wasn't positively thinking. But I am not following anybody across.
The organizers of the event did have an open burn permit.
Okay. If there's guys, if you're at an event and people are cooking hot dogs and at the same time you're supposed to be walking across, you maybe want to do that. But it's okay. Hey, things happen. Things happen at these crazy seminars. This is like the. How come we never see anything like this at the Burning Man? At the Burning Man, I would expect hot coal burning, foot burnage, but I don't expect that in the San Jose.
Yeah, drinking Kool-Aid, maybe.
The Guru seminar. So we'll come back to that. Hey, speaking of a couple local things here. We got a few more minutes before we take the break. I did see that Aerojet has announced they have merged with Rocketdyne, and if you've listened to the show for a while, a buddy of mine is a actual rocket scientist at Aerojet. So they have combined forces, and that's good for us because the headquarters of Aerojet is right here in Rancho Cordova.
Yep.
And we need more businesses getting bigger. And it doesn't really mean that there'll be a lot more hiring here, but anything that solidifies us keeping a big-time company right here in town. They're almost right across the street from where Waste Management just went to Texas.
Yeah.
And I drive by that building all the time, and I'm just infuriated that we couldn't figure out a way to keep a good Fortune 500 company here, but that's my problem, not theirs. So anyway, they picked up, this was interesting, GenCorp and Rocketdyne employ fewer than 6,000 workers combined, about a tenth of what Rocketdyne employed alone in the 60s. So Rocketdyne had almost 60,000 people themselves in the 60s, the heyday of exploration but they still are number one in terms of defense industry, aerospace. They're trying to get hooked up with some more of the SpaceX group to try to do more exploration. So Rocketdyne and Aerojet together here in Rancho Cordova.
Awesome news.
Awesome. I'll take that any day of the week. A couple of the little things I didn't get to last week. I brought this up. Did I ever finish this about the senator who wants to take all the... Oh, I know we got on this. We got on this with the no Fannie Mae, no Freddie Mac, no FHA. And this has been bandied about a while now. So there was the settlement with the banks, which theoretically they would say, we'll refinance our own people that don't have a Fannie or Mae or Freddie Mac or FHA or VA. I don't know how well that's going. And I don't know who's monitoring it. I think what happened is they wrote their check for the fine, and the government went away. Said, okay, yeah, y'all get on that. Get on that if you would. If you get around to it.
We're going to go find somebody else.
Yeah, we're going after somebody else now. Senator Jeff Merkley, Democrat, Oregon, has detailed how a government trust fund could set up to sell bonds and use the money to buy current underwater mortgages from the banks. Up to 8 million borrowers would have 3 new loan options. So here we go again. The government wants to further dip their toe into the mortgage business. And here's the plan. They will float some bonds and go into the banks that have these mortgages that are not protected or not owned by anybody, buy them up, presumably maybe at a little bit of a discount, maybe not, and then they will refinance you, give you some refinance options if you would like to refinance with them under the new plan. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to work, John, because a lot of people that are looking to refinance are looking to save money.
Yes.
Plan number one, a homeowner could choose a 4% fixed interest rate for 15-year mortgage. Now, that might sound good, but for those of you that are paying, say 5 or 6% on a 30-year fixed right now, to go to a 15-year fully amortized fixed at 4% is going to be a heck of a jump.
Yes.
In your payment. And so I don't know how much that helps you, but maybe there's a few of you out there that could afford to do it. It'll increase your payment. A 30-year fixed rate option could be provided also with low payments, but it will have private mortgage insurance involved, and the government will carry back a soft second mortgage. So what they'll do is they'll put you in a new first, they'll carry back as kind of a silent second, but they're going to make you cover with PMI, private mortgage insurance. PMI can be expensive, $100 to $300 a month. About how much you'd save by refinancing from going from something in the high fives to something in the fours. So I'm not sure how all this comes together. If the government is willing to take a good portion of your mortgage and put it off to the side and say, okay, you owe $300 now, what we're going to do is we're going to have you borrow $200 and we're going to hold back a silent second for $100, and you won't have to make any payments on the $100. That might help get you where you need to go, but keep in mind what I said is a silent second. You still owe it.
Right. It's
not a principal reduction. It's a payment reduction. So there again, I think you have to be honest with yourself and say, and I'm all for creative thinking. I'm not putting this down at all. If we can figure out some ways to get these off the books of the banks, get some people willing to refinance and do something creative that doesn't cost the taxpayers a boatload of money, it's great. I'm the first guy in line to help. I'm just not sure that this is it, and I'm not sure the people that we're talking about now that really solves their problem. We're not saying we're going to waive $100,000 off your mortgage and you can be done. we're saying we're going to just set it over here to the side a little bit, like what's that little thing you put the ball underneath you're talking about?
Exactly, we were talking about that earlier.
under the coconut cones, I'll move it around. Okay, where's the ball now? Where's your 100,000 now?
It may emotionally get some people thinking different. It's kind of like when you have equity in your house, you feel great. When you don't feel so good.
But you don't.
But you don't have it either way.
It doesn't change your equity position. It just changes your payment. So again, I'm a firm believer in be honest with yourself to begin with, because why go through all these gyrations? And I met a couple this week, and I asked them. I said, look, where you're at now. If I can do this loan for you, if everything goes exactly the way you want it to go, and I think we can get you there, does that change your life? Does that make things better for you? And she looked at me and she said, it doesn't. Then I said, then let's stop. And I'd love to do business with you, and I'd love to make money from you. But what you're telling me is when it's all said and done, I haven't improved your life. Then here's a couple names of some short sale realtors you should go talk to, because for what you're paying to live in that house right now, you could live in 2. I mean, you're paying an enormous amount of money, and you're just about ready to start missing payments on your credit cards and anything else too. You're just about ready to go over the edge of the cliff. Don't let me delay the cliff 60 days. Let's come up with a real plan to get out of there. And so sometimes the best response is no response. Is no help. Just take a different diversion, if you will. So that music means that we have got to wrap it up. Any last parting thoughts there? Before I go climb in my 400 square foot apartment for 3 or 4 months.
Like you said, I think timing. You can't time everything. Rates are good. When you have a scenario, don't be afraid of the unknown. Sit down with someone that's qualified and figure it out, so you're not afraid. You
can look him up online all week. I'll be out houseboating this week. I'm going to take a few days off.
Nice.
John Fodorero, the Italian stallion there at Comstock Mortgage. You can look him up. You can Google him. JFOD, he'll find him, and he'll answer all your questions this week, too. You can reach me during the week if you'd like, 338-9400. That's it. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll catch up with you in a couple weeks. Have a great, safe weekend, and we'll see you in a little bit. Aloha.
Talkin' Money.